Christians. I'm in part 4 of this mini series that I'm calling Make Egypt Great Again. Make Egypt Great Again. And I'm in Exodus chapter 1, and I'm going verse by verse in this series from the beginning of Exodus chapter 1 till the end of the chapter. Again, I've called this Make Egypt Great Again. I like that title. It has a nice little ring to it. So now we know that there arose a new king in Egypt. We know this from in verse 8. We know that it says that he did not know Joseph. And what I explained is that by not knowing Joseph, it means that he didn't have an affection for Joseph. He didn't care about Joseph. He probably got tired of hearing about Joseph. And notice that I'm pointing out that it says that he did not know Joseph. It didn't mention the old Pharaoh. It acknowledges that he didn't know Joseph, indicating that it was very well known by all, the power and the influence and the accomplishments of Joseph. So in verse 9, the new king, it says this: the new king said to his people, his fellow Egyptians, "Look at the people of the children of Israel. They are mightier and more than us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply, and it happened in the event of a war that they also join our enemies and fight against us, and so go up out of the land." Let's deal a little bit here with verse 9. The new king takes over, and now his subjects are the entire land of Egypt, along with the area inhabited by the Israelites, of course. And what he says is, he says to his people, and he goes to his people. There's not a discussion that he wants to have with the Israelites. He only wants to have a discussion to convince the Egyptians of something. And so what he does is, it says that this new king, he said to his people, "Look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than us." Number one, first takeaway, he's only talking to his people, even though the Israelites are citizens and are firmly established in Egypt. And then he says to his people, "Look at them. They are more and mightier than us." Now, we cannot conclude that they outnumbered all the people of Egypt, all of the Egyptians. That's not what is being said here. If you understand what is being said, it will basically, you have to look at it on a per capita basis. In other words, if you look at the space that was allocated for the Israelites, they had completely outgrown that allocation that they had been given by the previous king of Egypt at the behest of Joseph. Israel did not outnumber the Egyptians, but they did outgrow them in proportion to the space that they occupied. And what this new king is trying to do is to convince his people to see things as he sees them. This Pharaoh, this new king, had some disdain for the ever-growing, rapidly increasing number of Israelites that are growing. And he is seeing that if they continue to grow, this is not going to be a good thing for Egypt. So he addresses Egyptians. And he says to his people, "Look at them, the children of Israel. They are more and mightier than we." Now, as far as we know, there is no reason why this Pharaoh, this new king, ought to have had any issues with the Israelites. The Israelites, no doubt, were still living under an umbrella of massive thankfulness, having avoided famine by coming to Egypt. And there's no doubt that they were patriots in a sort of way, in the sense that Joseph was the ruler of Egypt, and now here they are. And no doubt they were concerned, they would have been concerned about the legacy of Joseph. And there's no indication, as far as we know, that they would have ever left there had not the sequel to this story took place. So, for all intents and purposes, as it appears from the rapid growth of the Israelites and their increased in abundance and their exceedingly mighty status, it seems to have all the indications of a very happy people. Happy and content and alive and significant in numbers, which was important to them. But to this new king, he didn't like what he was seeing. And he wanted to try to lead his people into seeing the Israelites, which I'm sure they got along with up to this point. But now this new king is saying, you need to look at the Israelites different than the way you're looking at them. I need you to pay attention to them. And that's what he says. He says, look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. He's telling this to his own people, the Egyptians. He says, look at them. I need you to see what I see. That if this continues, this is not going to be good for us. The games have begun. This new king is not happy with what he sees. So now he is manufacturing an enemy within by trying to convince his own people that it is not a good thing that the Israelites are growing as fast as they're growing, that they're as big a family of people as they are, that they are as mighty a people as they are. This king had a problem with Israel, and he was going to be really serious about coming down on them. Until the next installment, be provoked and be persuaded.